everybody, it's Libby with Fearlessness. What is fearlessness? It's that underlying grit that empowers us to forge ahead. Even when hope seems distant, it's the courage to walk through those fires of hell, knowing that we're not going to just come out better, but stronger on the other side. Stay tuned and learn how to get fearlessness. I'm your host, Libby DeLucien, and today our guest is the amazing Miss Kathy Merchant. Kathy, why don't you introduce yourself?
Merchant. I own Calico Cleaning in South Haven, Michigan. We've been in business for about 15 years, and I'm also a certified business coach.
Yes, me and Kathy, we know each other in many ways. We go way back. We're both CBF certified coaches for Debbie Sardone. Like Debbie said, she's a certified business coach. I think your jam is goal setting, right? That's what you really like to
goal
do.
Setting and attaining goals and productivity, anything to do with productivity. So time management, using the GROW model as well as the SMART model and setting goals and reaching those goals.
Awesome. And so Kathy, about your business, I think Kathy's business is somewhat unique, and my lawn care guys, if they're listening, they probably could relate to Kathy's business. Because I just don't know how, with lawn care and especially with you. So she's very big into vacation rentals, short-term rentals. And it's like, I thought it sucked here in Southwest Florida to have we're in our slow season right now. I see everybody like, I got 25 leads today. I'm like, you suck. No, because we're in our slow season. So we lose about a third of our population because in South Florida, we have snowbirds and they all migrate up north. But,
they all
Kathy
come back to me.
They all come back to Kathy. But, with short-term rentals, I look at it kind of like our lawn care guys. Like, I just can't even fathom for 3 months out of the year, I completely close my doors when it comes to lawn care. And so Kathy, I feel like you've had to learn how to work around that.
We have. So we're very seasonal. We're right on the lake shore, so we're on Lake Michigan. South Haven is a tourist town, has been for over 150 years. It is the main industry there. So I used to, before I found CBF, I used to close my doors in the winter, like you were talking about.
Okay, so you did close your doors.
So we did, yeah. Up until 5-6 years ago, we would be closed in the winter. As of November 1st, it becomes a ghost town around here. So all of the stores downtown close. It's just, there's no one here after November 1st. A little bit, maybe traffic during the holidays, but not very much at all. So we would close in the winter, and I would actually go work at a hotel somewhere, cleaning or at the front desk until 5 years ago. And so we learned how to maneuver and how to grow other sides of our business so that we could keep some of our amazing employees working year round. That is the biggest struggle, is being able to hire 30 additional employees and get them up and trained and ready to go within a short time period, because you don't have any work until this coming weekend, Memorial Day weekend. And then all of a sudden you have 30 houses that need to be cleaned on a Saturday. So yeah. It's very hard to learn how to maneuver all of that. So I've been doing it for 15 years. I've been cleaning vacation rentals since I was 18. Started in cleaning bed and breakfast. I'm just trying to think of what I want to say. So started cleaning there, and it's just been a passion. It's what I've loved doing. And so I figured out a way to make it work.
I love that story. So I want to get into a little bit, of kind of for people who are in a seasonal business. As much as I try to fight it here in Southwest Florida, we're seasonal. I try to fight it. I try to deny it. I'm like, and then all of a sudden Easter comes, and for us, Easter is the marker. And then we start to lose customers. And it's like, my office, we used to get so upset and discouraged and what are we doing wrong? And it's like, stop fighting it. We are in a seasonal area. And, I think for me, I had to learn kind of like you, Kathy, how to pivot. What other services could we offer? What could we do and offer to customers or our customer base or a similar customer base that our cleaners or our current staff could deliver without having to add a lot of overhead or training or liability. So, for me, we learned that through kind of cleaning other parts of the house. So now we offer like a lanai cleaning and a clean your front porch. We'll clean your garage. Like, we don't care. We'll clean
Right.
anything. Um,
Exactly.
so we had to learn that way. But, for our listeners, Kathy, could you just kind of go into a little bit more detail of like the journey of kind of when did you have the epiphany? What did you start to add? Like the epiphany of like, oh my gosh, I gotta try to like do this year round. For our lawn care guys, I know they add Christmas lights. A lot of them do like seasonal lighting, holiday lights. They can use the same people. But for you, like, when was that epiphany? When was that aha moment? And how did you start to transition that? What did you do?
Well, for us, so you said Christmas lights, and it made me think of it. We do offer, and we don't have a lot of people take us up on it, but we do offer decorating for Christmas.
Oh, nice. So do
one of-
we on our organizing side.
Yeah. So one of my employees has been with me for 14 years. She started the year after I started, and her name is
That's
Brittany.
awesome,
She's
by the way.
phenomenal. Thank you. She celebrated her 14-year anniversary last week. So she loves to organize and she loves to decorate. She's always wanted to add an organizing department, and we just haven't done that yet because I know absolutely nothing about it. So I know you have to be certified and all that, and I just have not taken the time to
No,
get to
you
learn
don't have
it.
to be certified. We could go into a
I
whole
thought you
training
did.
on that.
Okay.
No, it's
Oh.
not. It's like kind of like house cleaning and even lawn care. It's not governed by any organization. Like if I'm a plumber or electrician, I have to be certified. No, not at all.
Oh, I did not
And
know that.
Nope. And she could actually make a really good, the company and her, you guys, you can charge a great rate for organizing. So that's a whole nother session we could talk about.
Okay. Yeah, she
But
absolutely
yes.
loves it. So she will go and do like home decorating and get it set up for in our vacation rentals. We've had people ask us to do this. So she'll go and decorate.
That's a great
and
service.
Yes, and get the house Christmas tree put up and all the lights put up and set the table up so it looks really inviting when they come in. So we have done that over the years. We don't get a whole lot of requests for it, but sometimes we do. We also, our biggest turning point for us was we added the residential side. So we had never done residential. And I don't know if you've ever experienced this, because I know you used to do vacation rentals.
Yes.
If you have a cleaner who starts cleaning vacation rentals, they don't like to go to the residential side because
it's dirty.
Dirty, exactly.
And there's kids and there's dogs and
people actually live there.
There's people in the house.
Right, exactly. So we never did residential because I had all vacation rental cleaners and they're very spoiled. The house is clean. And
to me, I consider it like a hotel style cleaning. It's a very surface kind of cleaning at times. Now, yes, there are people who trash vacation rentals, mainly kids.
Yeah. But that doesn't happen very often. We might have one a season that totally gets trashed, but we clean them 2 to sometimes 3 times a week within a week. So they're always very clean. And vacation rentals are top to bottom clean every single time, because if you don't, you're going to miss something. So we never wanted to go into residential because we were very spoiled. And then I had to learn how to pivot. And that's when I joined CBF and I learned about residential and how to do that.
And what year did you pivot?
In 2020.
In 2020. Oh, COVID.
Yeah, COVID year.
Okay.
So we joined the year in COVID, and we had done a few commercial, but not a whole lot. So that was the only thing that stayed open for us during COVID was our commercial account. So my husband and I just did them ourselves so that we could keep revenue coming into the business. But that's when things changed for us, was in 2020, and we started staying open year round and being able to keep some of those techs working year round. So what I do now is hire all seasonal. And when I hire you into my company, you're hired as a seasonal tech, and you'll stay with us for 90 days. And if we still feel you're a good fit for us and they feel we're a good fit for them, I offer it as a promotion to move to the residential side and stay year round.
I like that.
We do have some people who will come in that are teachers and bus drivers, paras that only want to work in the summer, and that works out really good for us. They come back year after year. But then if it's not and someone just is hired in as seasonal, then we offer them that as a promotion. If we feel they fit our core values and they still feel after 90 days that they want to keep working with us.
So I like that. And so, for anybody that's seasonal listening, hire the way Kathy structured it, hiring everyone seasonal. And then if they're a good fit, they could stay through 90 days. And then I also like the seasonal part where you could attract some teachers and bus drivers. I'm on social media and I already see the teachers looking for side gigs right now, babysitting and doing all kinds of stuff to try to do something during the summer to compensate their pay. I think that's a really great fit. We're seasonal here, so it's opposite for us. We're slow right now. And, through this transition and all this learning, for us, my biggest lesson in this was I had to learn to I couldn't track things like regular companies. So, I would always in my office, we would always get so upset. Like, our churn is horrible. It's awful. Like, we suck. What are we doing wrong? And then, I had a mentor and he had said, you need to track it separately. You need to track your snowbirds separately. You need to track like regrettable churn, and regrettable churn is like, we messed up. This is that, like, okay. And then we have our snowbirds who leave. So, I think for us, that was our biggest lesson. Because we see all these structures for business, and like, I'm the biggest EOS fan in the world, but at the same time, not one thing is made to run every business. And so we were always feeling like we were failing. So in this transition, Kathy, what do you think is like the thing that you had to learn how to do to set yourself up for success in the transition of going from vacation and then adding residential? What do you think? Like, what's that mindset shift you had to? Is there anything that stands out for you?
Well, that's the biggest thing is what you just said, is because, and we are both in CBF, so you can relate to this, but I always felt like for the last 4 years that I'm failing because I can't meet those percentages that Debbie teaches us. And so this year, my whole goal has been, let me back up. So going back to that, the reason being is in vacation rentals, you always have more leadership staff during the season than you're supposed to have to run your business altogether. So I'm always very high in my leadership team. So I never fit into those margins that I'm supposed to fit into. So I'm working very hard this year with Dan Plata to build out our profit and loss, and we're totally separating and having it in different classes, so we're tracking it, so I can truly look at the residential side only and say, yep, I'm within my numbers where I need to be. The vacation rentals over here and commercials over here, so we're totally separating it to be able to look at that, because for the last 4 years felt like I'm never going to get this right. I'm never going to fit within this percentage that I'm supposed to fit in because of my vacation rentals. And in the beginning, I felt like I just need to get rid of them. But that's 80, I would say probably 80 to 82%, if I have tracked it correctly, of my revenue for the entire year comes in that 5 months. And if I was to cut vacation rentals out, I would be like a baby startup company again, starting all over. And what would I do with all these amazing people that I've hired and have held on to, like Brittany, for the last 14 years? Like, I've seriously considered not doing vacation rentals because it is such a seasonal business. And I don't know how we would survive otherwise. We would be starting over from scratch. And all the snowbirds, when they leave us, like you said, they go back to Florida, where it's a lot better in the wintertime than it is here with 12 foot of snow. But I don't know. That's probably been my biggest thing, is to not feel like a failure because I don't fit within someone's specific margins of where I should be.
So I would love to talk about this topic even more. So again, I love structure. I love, like I said, EOS, and then Debbie taught us the margins. But I've recently I've had this like moment of like, who cares? Like, who cares? Like, I want to run my business the way I want to. And I love having like I said, structure and like buckets to fit into, because I think it's a great base. I think it's a great starting point. But I'm like, who cares? Like, I want to run my business the way I want to. And maybe I want to tweak it and modify certain things, because I'm with you. I'm always heavy on my office staff because I choose to be. And that's because I don't want to be in the day-to-day. I don't want to be doing things with Organize It. So they're always over. And then I'm like, and I always felt bad. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care anymore. Yes, I know what it's supposed to be, but I'm choosing this because it's what makes me happy.
And that makes perfect sense. You have a lot of other businesses that you run. I'm not in the day-to-day operations at all. I only do the finance side of things. And I had someone else who was doing the finance side of things, and it was a huge disaster. Mm-hmm. And I think we're going to talk about some of those in a little bit, but I don't think that I'll ever take my eye off of the finances again. I just don't feel like I would be comfortable doing that. If the person that I trusted was as close to me as a family member and it became the disaster that it did, I don't know how I will ever feel comfortable trusting somebody to do that again. And I absolutely love my team. I love being with them every single day. So until I'm ready to retire or I find another passion somewhere other than coaching, because I can coach from anywhere, I don't have any desire to be 100% out of the business. And I've learned to accept that that's okay.
Yeah.
It really is okay.
And all these people talk about, I want to be an absentee owner. I'm like,
yes.
I don't think you know what an absentee owner is. And I never want to be an absentee owner. An absentee owner in reality is like someone who sits on a board to their own company, who has really no idea what's going on, no say-so, no involvement. That's an absentee owner. I think most people want to choose the way they work in their company. And because it looks different than what other people are telling us, that it makes them feel like they're not doing something right, and I think just choose what you want to do and even with the finances, what percentages do you want to be in? And I'm okay overspending in my office because I have other things to do. I have small children. And that's the choice I'm making. And the same thing with EOS. I'm an EOS fan, but we've modified EOS for our cleaning company and our software company because EOS moves too fast. Software moves too fast for the EOS structure. So we've had to add, we added into it. We added sprints where they're like shorter bursts of time versus 90 days. And then with our cleaning company, we realized that EOS was, we modified it because I realized that integrator was just an expensive courier if you didn't have great leadership. But if you had great leadership, you could compress it and you didn't necessarily need the integrator. And I've learned that over time. And so we run modified versions in all of our companies, but I think everything is a great starting point and then make it what you want. Don't judge yourself because you're not meeting certain markers.
I think that's where a lot of us get into that bad mindset and the negative mindset is because we're so busy comparing ourselves to everyone else. And I love EOS too. We run a very relaxed version of EOS in my company. I've studied it extensively. One of our clients in my cleaning business is actually an implementer of EOS. So she guides us quite often. But I haven't worked with an EOS implementer. I've just self-implemented myself and paid the $500 a month to be a self-implementer and learned it on my own last year. So we have a very condensed version of it. And I love the EOS structure and I love that it fits within our cleaning business. But I also love that we can make it what we want. And I've just learned in the last year, I learned this actually from you, watching you and everything that you do, that opening this second office here in Holland, which is where I'm at right now, was a huge mistake. And I thought this was what I wanted. I wanted to be away from my team, be able to get things done, because when you are in the day-to-day, not in the day-to-day operations, but in the same office as they are, you hear all the chatter of the day-to-day operations that are going on, and it's very distracting. And I thought what I wanted was to have my own office space to be able to not hear all the chatter and get more done. And talking with you at Live and learning how you've opened multiple locations and don't have them staffed, I was like, I just need to listen to Libby. This is what I need to do. So we're closing this office in 2 weeks. So we will have a satellite office here just to do interviews and supplies for my team, because it's an hour away from my location on the lakeshore. So we will have a satellite office here, but no one will man this office, and I will be back down there with the rest of my team. And we will be in a different office. It's a little bit bigger. But we've been in chaos the last probably 3 weeks, because the week after I decided to close this office, we found out our office that we have been in for going on 7 years now is up for sale. And we were not told it was going to be going up for sale until it happened. So that's where my rental division is ran from. My laundry service is there, all my washers and dryers, and we're going into the season. So we're feeling very stressed, and things just seem to be very chaotic right now. As well as my husband and I are building our retirement home. So personal and work life is very chaotic right now. And I'm feeling very overwhelmed and unorganized, and I don't like that one bit. So I've learned watching you that it's okay to do things differently than what other people in our industry are doing. And as long as you're happy. And that's one of the biggest things I've learned from watching you over the last 4 years. Is that you do your own thing, and it kind of fits within the box, and it sometimes doesn't fit in the box, and that's okay, because you're happy and you have a beautiful life and a beautiful family, and I know you don't have it all together all the time, but you seem to like have your family and your work life very balanced, and that's what I've been working very hard to get to in the last couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm happy that, because you go through these kind of like imposter things. Should I share what I'm doing? Like, who cares? Right. And you're hoping that someone will learn from your expensive experience of doing it wrong. And you're like, well, that sucked. I have gotten very, especially just recently, like, I don't care what anybody else is doing. I just want to do what I want to do. And I think that as women, so I'm in the middle of writing a book, Kathy, and the writers make me sound like super smart.
You are. You don't give yourself enough credit.
And the writers, we're really targeting women in the book. It's going to be for anybody, but we're targeting women, that want to slay their personal life, professional life. It's funny because he asked me, and he has someone else on the call with him, and it's a woman, and she's one of the writers. And as I'm saying this, and I say, as women, we're always overcomplicating everything, and we're always comparing ourselves to others.
Always.
And she's there writing. She's like, oh my God, yes. Like, and it's funny because his name is Paul Fair. Paul Fair's like, man, he's like, I didn't realize, like, because it's resonating with her so much, the other writer. And she's like, where were you? I could have used this information 14 years ago. I think that when it comes to business, and I love mentorship, I will pay for it all day long. And I think we should take it, and I think we should implement it. And then I think we should make it our own. Like, what is that? Does that fit in my life? Maybe I have little kids. Like, maybe I don't have any kids. Maybe I want time freedom. Maybe I want more profit. And then we have the power to, after we've implemented it, to then make the modifications to fit in our life. I think people want to skip and just say, I want the life, but they don't want to implement it first to get things like organized and running well. And then we can make those modifications. But they want to just kind of push the skip button and say, well, why can't I have what so-and-so has? They're $1 million company now. But they don't realize, looking like that, you got to first do the work, the small stuff, implement properly, and then you can make the modifications, because you got to go through that learning and create that foundation. Like, CBF gave me such great foundation for the business. And now I can go try things. And if it doesn't work, I can be like, oh crap, like, let's go back. Let's go back to the model. Let's go back to the base. Yeah. We're like, that wasn't great. But I've recently gotten to where I'm tired of people telling me how one, I'm supposed to look, or how my business is supposed to be ran, because I made a lot of mistakes. I just let go of some people because I was running one of the businesses the way I thought it was supposed to be ran. And then all of a sudden we were taking on customers who were not good fits because we were using a sales model. And I was like, this sucks. Like, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And then finally I looked at Chris and I said, I'm going to do it the way I want to. And it's been great, and your team appreciates it. it builds more culture. And when I finally announced to like my leadership team in this company, I said, I'm done listening to everybody else tell me how I'm supposed to do things. I'm going to just do them the way I want. They literally like started clapping.
Yeah, had this exact same thing happen. We had it was our quarterly meeting with my leadership team. And when we went through EOS, like we set, our 10-year goal, and I wanted to be a $10 million company with 5 locations. And I had it down to exactly how many employees we need to have, how many clients we need to have. And at our quarterly meeting, Brittany, the one that's been with me 14 years, she talked to me before the meeting because she didn't want to blindside me. But she said, I am never going to be who you are in CBF. I'm never going to be that person that wants to be up on stage. And she felt like that she had to fit into this model of who she had to be. And that's not who she is. And she was really struggling to want to stay within my company after 14 years because she felt like I was going in another direction and it's not the direction she wanted to go. And when something happens to me, my business is ultimately going to her. My children don't want anything to do with it. She's been with me this whole entire time. She's helped me grow it from the trunk of my car to what it is today. And she was just feeling very much like she had to be like me to be able to run the company and keep it successful, or she was letting me down. And I told them at my quarterly meeting, well, I told her, I said, first of all, I never expect you to stand on that stage at CBF and speak in front of people or do anything that makes you uncomfortable. That's me. That's not you. And this company has thrived because you are running it your way. But her biggest fear has always been that she would let me down. And so we had to get past that. And then at the quarterly meeting, I told my team, I don't want to be a $10 million company. I don't want 5 locations. Like opening this location was a huge mistake. I let my ego get in the way. And I had someone who was on my team for the last 3 years tell me I couldn't have it. It wasn't going to work. It was going to be a failure. And so when she was gone, I was like, damn it, I'm having it. Like I want it. I'm doing it. And it was a huge mistake. And I've realized now that the reason it was a mistake was because I thought I wanted something I didn't want because everybody was telling me this is the way it should be. This is what you need to do. This is how you get there. And I finally made up my mind that I don't want a $10 million company. I don't want 5 locations. I will be happy at 2.5, 3 million and be happy with that. And that's okay. It's okay to not want more because I am a lot younger or a lot older than you are. And I'm looking at a time where I'm getting ready to retire in the next 7 to 10 years. And I don't want to be still 8 years from now trying to get another location up and going and still struggling with that and how to do that and how to manage 25 more employees at another location. Like if I could run my business without dealing with people, it'd be amazing. But people are what keep our, right?
That's life.
But exactly. But people are what keep our businesses running and they are the backbone of our business. And, I appreciate them wholeheartedly. I don't want anyone to think that I don't. But I just don't have the desire to do that anymore. And I'm finally okay with you don't have to do that just because everybody else wants that.
And that is so powerful for anybody listening. Like it's okay to not have to or want to keep up with the Joneses in business. I was at an event and we were writing down all of our goals. And it's always, I don't understand why it's always a revenue goal. Like, stop. It's always a revenue goal. So everyone's writing down their revenue goal. And I wrote down my goal and it had nothing to do with revenue. We had just gotten hit by the hurricane. Revenue was, and my goal was to restructure, work on our processes and systems and to get some great foundation so that we can grow even better, right? We can grow. And so I didn't write a revenue goal. I could have wrote a revenue goal. So when everyone stood up and said theirs, and I stood up and said, I don't have a revenue goal this year. My goal is profitability and processes and systems. And, after everyone continued on after that night later at the bar, someone came up to me and they said, Libby, I just want to thank you because I had written a number down and I crossed it off because everybody else said a larger revenue goal. And I didn't want to seem like the small person. I didn't want to seem like I wasn't keeping up with them. And when you stood up and said you didn't have a revenue goal, that you were focused on what you wanted to do, and you stood up and said it out loud, and you didn't care what anyone else said. She was like, thank you, because I got intimidated by everybody else, and I inflated my goal, and it's not what I want.
And it wasn't feasible for her. It wasn't reality for her at that point in time.
And then when she sets it and she doesn't reach it, she then feels bad about herself.
Right. Exactly. When I told my team I didn't want to be a $10 million company anymore, you could just see the stress took off them. And two of them said, we are so glad that you finally said that out loud, because you have no idea how much pressure that puts on us to try to build a company in 10 years to 10 million when we're only at $1 million. Like, that's 9 million to go. And it took us 15 years to get to 1. And you're trying to get to 10 in 10 more years. And I never thought about it that way. But everybody around me, that's what they wanted. That's what they were doing.
Yeah. And I think that it's so powerful, because sometimes we don't know what we want in life. Like, if you're just starting out, for our listeners, like if you're just starting out, or you're a little confused, or a lot of people that I talk to are confused with managing that energy between business and life and what they want and purpose. And, it's okay to like to not really know what those goals are. But I think it's even more powerful, Kathy, and you said it just a minute ago, is to know what you don't want.
Exactly.
And I've been around enough people in the last couple years to know, you know what? I don't want a single location that's $5 million. I've seen it. It's a churned machine. I'm like, it's constant chaos. I'm like, I don't know if I want that. I don't want that. Like, and so I think it's even more powerful. So if you don't know what you want and you don't know what goal to set right now, that's okay. But then think about it from the other side. What do you not want? And start there. So I love this topic. And as far as, with opening or deciding to open another location and going back, like thinking about it again. And what would you say that well, I guess you said what your biggest learning lesson is to not, compare yourself to others.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. I mean, I thought that, and we're growing, like our residential side, because we do live on the lake shore and it does close down to like a ghost town November 1st. I chose to focus growing an hour away from our current location, where it's a bigger city, and there's, factories and hospitals and all the metropolitan stuff here that will keep our residential side growing. And it is growing. It's growing very well. Like, I would say 85% of our leads coming in are from this location. And that's nice. Okay. But learning from you, what I learned, the biggest takeaway I learned from watching you is that you don't have to have a big fancy office, and it doesn't have to be manned at all. And that takes so much off your plate, not only from a profitability side, but just realizing I don't have to stretch myself into 2 locations, because I felt like when I'm up here, everything down there was going to fall apart, and it has not. Like, I have 2 people that run that office that are just amazing. Brittany's been with me 14 years. Marsha's been here 4 years. She has 15 years of sales and customer service background. Like, she is phenomenal. She is really growing our residential side, but she's handling everything from this location and that location. Like, she can do it. And that's what I didn't understand. Like, when I came up here and I opened this office, I got a big, beautiful office with 4 offices, a conference room, an entryway. And I was like, yes, this is going to be where we grow. We'll grow into it. I know I'm hiring 3 additional people, but it's an investment. And then I just realized, and that was and it truly was from talking to you at live when I talked to you about the different locations, was you're doing it all wrong. Like, you don't have to stretch yourself so thin, because I feel like I'm pulled between both locations. And like, if I'm not there, they don't have my support. But if I'm up here, I'm not growing this like I should be. Truly, this is just an office that I'm just quiet. It's just me. There's no one else up here. I've sent
Yeah.
them all back to South Haven because it's the rental season and they need the extra help there. So my 2 extra people that were up here with me, that was going to be the office manager for this area and my commercial division manager, are all back in the South Haven office. These offices are not being used at all. But I signed a 3-year lease. So that was a mistake. So hence why I got it cheaper a month by signing a 3-year lease. But so that's why we decided to stay within this building, just downsize. It's literally around the corner from where we are now, a 1-room office that my cleaners who live here in this area can come and restock their supplies. And I have a professional place to do interviews for this area as well. So
Yeah.
So we're going to do that June 1st. We're moving in 2 weeks.
Awesome. I think with running, so WootRecruit is 100% virtual team. And growing that has taught me so much. And then being in the software space, because I'm in a software like mentor group, being in that software space is really interesting to see how these companies, these giant companies, can grow with virtual offices. And I think that, we kind of just have to think differently about the way we do things. COVID changed everything about remote, and people want remote. And even my cleaning technicians, they love the freedom of not having to come to the office all the time. They just want to get their stuff and go home to their kids.
Right.
And, I learned that to have that the office, because it was 100% ego with me. Like I wanted to get rid of our office a year ago or downsize it. Like we got another one, a different office, smaller, but it was 100% ego. Cause I said, for me to be successful, I'm tying it to how beautiful my office is.
Exactly.
And I'm like, well, that's
it
stupid.
Ego driven all the way.
I could be doing so much with that money, whether it's give people raises, do more incentives, more employee engagement. Like, what is this office contributing? Absolutely nothing to the culture of our company, like that specific office. So when I finally realized it and we decided to move, and then we opened another location without an office, I also learned how to restructure stuff to make me feel better. And I learned this from Holly and Summer from Maids and More, is that my main office, my main Fort Myers people, right? They're all virtual. They're my corporate office. They're running all of the locations. They're helping build. That way I don't feel like I have to separate myself from this location to that location. And when they become at capacity, then we're going to hire people under them, but it's all going to be held within corporate. So I'm only managing one set of locations, one people, because we're managing corporate.
Right.
And that really helped me with really understanding, like, I don't need a whole nother team. I don't need a whole set of people. It's the most profitable way to do it until you get to a certain size. Then you might need to. And then we built out a position for each location, a technician to help support that location. And so it's a very particular type of person that we need. And I got the help of that from Dawn Facilla. She used to be in CBF. She's from Maryland. And, she really helped me build out that avatar because she's a WootRecruit customer, and we helped her find that person and what did she want. And after we kind of laid that all out, I said, oh, this is what I want. Because she did it in Sarasota. She opened another location in Sarasota. No office. Like just a little, I don't even think she has anything, like not even a storage room. Yeah. And, it was just an interesting process to go through with her because I was going through it with myself, and to just say, I'm going to do this on my own terms and my own way, and we're going to see how it works. And I don't think there's ever, Kathy, like one right way to do things. I love trying stuff because I think businesses are like people, and it's like, everybody's just a tad bit different.
Well, and that's what is so great about our community, because we all can then learn from each other, because we're not all doing it exactly the same exact way. And we all have different verticals to our business. You have, the software business, you have the recruiting business, as well as your cleaning and organize it business. And we all learn so much from you, as well as everybody else in our community that are doing things a little different than the others.
Yeah, I think everyone just adds their own flair to it.
Yeah.
Yes,
And that's what I love about it. Is it's, yes, We all own cleaning businesses in CBF, but we do them a little bit differently. And you got to find your right tribe within your community to be able to feel like you're not failing because you're not fitting into the box exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And I'm one of those business owners that like, I don't want to be in a box.
Right.
Don't put me in a box.
That's why we became business owners. We
Yeah.
didn't want to work for someone else and be in a box all day long.
No. And for our listeners who may not know what CBF is that we keep referring to, is it's Debbie Sardone's Cleaning Business Fundamentals. And so if you are a cleaning business owner and you're interested in, just learning more and really taking your cleaning business to the next level, if you're struggling with systems and processes, and that is a great program to help build your company to $1 million cleaning company. I cannot recommend it enough. So Kathy, all of this being said, what is the thing that you're just most proud of when it comes to your business or your life?
For my business, I would say what I'm most proud of is the leadership team that I have built, because they build the rest of the company. So I'm very proud of my company, even though in some people's eyes would be still considered very small, because we are just $1 million company after 15 years. But I chose to also take a couple of years off and not grow revenue numbers and just grow our foundation, because we were very broken. And having that vacation rental vertical in there made us even seem more broken than we were. So I'm very proud of the leadership team that I have, and that I truly can step away from my business for 3-4 days a week, take a 2-week vacation. I mean, 2 years ago, I was gone for 14 days with my husband for our 5-year anniversary and didn't check in with them at all. So, and it ran smoothly. It actually grew. So I'm very proud of my leadership team. In my personal life, I would say I'm just most proud of my grandkids. So spending time with them. My kids have done very well and are doing very well in life. And so I'm very proud of them.
Kathy, you should be super proud of yourself for not giving in and just getting rid of those vacation rentals.
Right. Yeah.
So I commend you for that, because, that takes a lot of courage to go against like what some of our industry friends say or the negativity that vacation rentals get. And instead you're leaning into it instead of saying, oh, I'm going to be like everybody else and, not do them or cut them back.
Right. As you know, as with vacation rentals, I tried that whole cutting them back thing when I first joined CBF. And when I was working with Jeannie Henderson as my coach, she's like, well, just double your rates and half of them will go away. And they did it. Like only 5 dropped off that first year. And so I was like, oh, let's try this again. So I raised them up again. And that's when I went to my $100 per bedroom was my starting point. And we still haven't lost them, and we still continue to grow. And so
I love that. $100 per bedroom.
Yeah, that's
an easy way to quote.
Yeah, I start with that, and then I just add on, for our inspectors and our grounds team, and we provide all the linens for our vacation rentals. And so I made that huge investment last year, spent $45,000 to buy all the linens for all of our properties that we take care of and clean. But it made us much more efficient. It helped me on the recruiting side because I didn't have to hire 18 more people that like we normally would do. We had 18 less last year by being able to just clean and bring the laundry back to our office and do it in-house. And
it's probably so much faster.
It is. It's just much more efficient, and we can do 2 and 3 houses a day versus 1 because you're sitting there waiting for laundry to dry. So it was a huge investment, but it was very much worth it. So I crunched the numbers when I did the laundry webinar with Debbie a few weeks ago. We saved $287,000 by investing that $45,000 just in not having to hire 18 extra people for the year.
Nice.
So it was very nice.
Through this journey that you've learned, right? You've learned a lot in the last few years. You've grown as a person and as a business owner. What would you say? What would be like your number one piece of advice for any of our listeners who, maybe either they're startups or they're struggling or they're just confused?
My biggest piece of advice for anybody is don't chase the shiny objects, because I was very bad at that. And I added a lot more of subscriptions and bigger CRMs because everybody else was doing it and it was the latest and greatest thing. And so my biggest piece of advice is keep it simple, because I went back to simple. Simple is simple and easy. Just because your brain can understand it as an entrepreneur doesn't mean that your team can. They're not business-minded, driven people. And that's not saying anything bad about them at all, but we're entrepreneurs for a reason. And we tend to think that because the newest and shiniest object is going to give us more reporting or, whatever the scenario might be, you have to keep it simple. Keep it simple for your team because that's where they grow. If you're trying to complicate things, then they can't focus on growing your company. You're just trying to learn new systems all the time. So my biggest piece of advice is just keep it simple.
I love that.
Until it doesn't work anymore. And then you got to try something different. But if it's working, don't fix what's not broken.
No, I love that. In the opening chapter, I think it's even in the introduction of Good to Great, they say that there is no software that will make or break your business. And this is coming from a software person. Yeah. There's none. Like, you first have to have a successful business to have success come out on the other side of it, whatever it is, the process, the software, the CRM. I said this the other day, someone was asking, what do I invest in first, marketing or paid marketing or recruiting? And I said, first you have to fix your business, because if you're investing in the shiny objects like paid marketing or CRMs, they're just going to amplify the broken pieces.
Right. Yeah. They just create more chaos.
It just creates more chaos. And, I have never, ever been leaner in any of my companies than I currently am right now, with the shiny objects, with, cutting out what do we need, what do we not need, don't change CRMs, stop changing stuff constantly, or using the softwares that we have to the fullest.
Right.
Because I find like we're paying for something and we're like, we're only using this part of it. And then I went over here and bought this because I liked it the way it did over here better. And then I'm just like, we're adding to the layers of complexity to our business. And then we wonder why our office isn't efficient.
Well, that's probably the biggest thing that I see within our community is people are constantly buying different subscriptions and software programs and different CRMs because they like what this one does versus what this one does, but they're not truly utilizing the CRM system they already have. So they'll go add, so tell us, or nice job to do reviews, but are you using the review platform that's within your CRM already? Like, is that broken and that's why you're wanting to switch? No, I've never even tried it.
Yeah. And
so you're adding more complexity as well as taking away from your profit.
Yeah. Love that. Love this topic. And I also, really loved with this simple for all of our business owner friends out there that are trying to grow. Simple. I'm going to say this is simple and consistency is the only way to scale. Every time we change something, I literally was just talking to somebody and they keep changing their interview days and times every week. Yeah. Just that, guys, just changing your interview times every week, the days and the times, because this is what works for me and blah. And you can't scale because you're setting your office up to fail because they don't know, they don't remember, they're not prepared, like the office isn't ready, it's just consistency and keeping it so simple that it's automatic. We don't have to think about it is like the way we need to do it as business owner, especially women. Like, let's stop complicating stuff.
Exactly. It's simple.
So this was a great episode. If you want to catch more, me and Kathy are going to go over on the WootRecruit YouTube channel to talk about recruiting. Like, what did you do to keep a 14-year employee? I'd love to know that. We're going to dive into that. But I want to thank Kathy for being a guest on the Fearlessness Podcast. Kathy, is there anything up and coming that our listeners should keep an eye out for? Anything you have in the works? Any trainings or anything that you're releasing soon?
Yeah, actually, I am currently working on 3 different courses that are going to be coming up in the next year on growth mindset, time management, and goal planning for success. So
Awesome. And we'll make sure we put all of the Kathy's handles in the show notes so that if you want to find Kathy and book her for a coaching call or just follow Kathy on social media, that way you can get a hold of her. And I want to thank our listeners so much. And if you enjoyed this episode, there are many other episodes just like this on thefearlessness.com. And I also want to thank our sponsor, WootRecruit, for always sponsoring and helping me edit and download and upload all of these episodes. And guys, that's a wrap into the heart of fearlessness. Remember, every step we take is a move towards our own strength and courage. Keep pushing through those fires because on the other side of it lies a version of yourself that's unstoppable. I'm Libby, reminding you to embrace your fearlessness. Until next time, stay brave, stay bold, and keep pushing forward.